Hey, how's that going there, everybody? College fans, college football fans, I should say. Want to welcome y'all in tonight to our what is it? I think it's gonna be like episode 5 for us right now, Ronnie. But it's week 11 in college football. We're going to talk a little bit of Arkansas LSU, preview a little rivalry game right there in the SEC, and I think we got a little Georgia Tech Boston College game that you talk about. And you know what? I put a little bit of stuff together because you brought up something last week. Say, hey, let's talk about who's in the Heisman, who's in the hunt. You know what? And so I kind of put some stuff together, So we're going to talk a little bit of Heisman today. And of course, as always, we're going to do Ronnie's picks for the week. And then it might get into a little bit of the college playoff rankings there, and just a little bit, and go with that, because that's just one of those things I really don't want to touch until that kind of cleans itself out. Yeah, it's still murky, but anyway, Ronnie, as always, good to see you, my man. And you know what? From one veteran to another veteran, and also not just any veteran, but a dual service veteran. I Army and Navy, you Marine and Army. So happy Veterans Day, Ronnie, and good to see you, my guy.
Yes, sir. Happy Veterans Day to you, brother. And I also want to give a happy belated 250th birthday to the Marine Corps, 10th of November, 1775. And happy Veterans Day to all the veterans. And like you said, dual service veterans. So
that's right. That's
welcome
right.
Home, brother.
That's right. That's right. Hey, man. And to all the veterans out there that's listening and hearing us right now, hey, happy Veterans Day, man. And from two guys out here on this program, we know what it was all about. We know what it's like. So, we appreciate your service, and we hope we put on a hell of a good show for you guys tonight. So anyway, with that being said, man, I'm gonna dive right into this, man. So it's week 11 here, and you know what? Let me get my stuff set up over here. I got the wrong thing kind of set up here. If I can find
my while you look for that, I want to remind the people, after a dismal 0-5 week, the picks went 3-2, so I'm back in the money.
There we go.
So if it weren't for a half a point, I would have had three weeks of 4-1 picks. So I was 3-2, and the game you warned me about, LSU Alabama, that got me by just a half a point. So if it would have been a half a point different, that would have been 3 weeks at 4-1. So we bounced back from the 0-5, 3-2, with the overall 11-9. So we're still over 500 against the spread. So, and I think I got some good ones for this week. There's some good games coming up. And before you get too deep, boy, two games I really watched was the Oregon and Iowa. Iowa was one of my picks. And that was a damn hard-hitting, hard-fought, bad-weather game. And then I'm sure when you talk about the Heisman later, you'll be talking about the catch that Indiana.
Oh,
boy, that was. I mean, I hate to be a prisoner of the moment, but I had people texting me, telling me that may have been the best catch they've ever seen. Also with the situation, it wasn't like second down in the second quarter. That was that. Right when they need, in the situation that it was in, the catch that was made. But yeah, I'm sure you'll get going on that.
That catch, there's so much, and I will, because it wasn't just the catch.
The moment.
It was the moment, and if you could just screenshot that, and I got to give some love, man, because these guys have been taking it on the chin. First off, it was a great catch, and you can see the receiver. You can see, you can see Omar. You can see him looking down, like
looking down at the line.
But man, if you sit there and you look at that back judge, if you watch that play over, you could not ask for a referee to hit that play as well as he did. You can see him feet. He's looking down, feet right down, there. Look up, bam, and he made the call. Hats off. That's how it's supposed to be. I hope somebody starts paying attention to these guys who are doing it right.
I thought about you because we've been giving the refs hell. And I remember I was watching that like in all the slow motion replay. He was standing there in the right position.
And
you could to make that call.
You could see him do his job correctly. Yes, and I hope there's some guys, and there are guys out there who do this job correctly. And I'm kind of getting a little off subject here, but you know what? All the major conferences, hey, they need to get together. They need to make this. They need to get these referees. They don't need to be part-time. They need to be full-time. And I have an idea how to work this. Before I throw out a problem, I have a potential solution to it. But you need to reward those referees that you see doing those good job, and you need to put them on teams. And there's a way you can relegate referees and start to put these in like lower like NIA or the NAIA, something. Start working these guys up. Use these as a regular to relegate or to move up system.
Right. FCS, bounce them up and down.
That's another show. But hats off to the ref. Hats off to the kid there that made the catch there. Can't think of his name. Omar. He caught that. That was a hell of a catch, hell of a pass. And we'll get to that. But that was definitely a Heisman moment for Mendoza, for damn sure. And now yeah. But now let's get back over here. You know what? I got to give a shout out to my guy Chris Martin out there. I know I'm sure he's probably watching right now. He's my LSU guy, and he and I we worked around the world together, man. And he's that dude. Like he was that guy. And I reached out to him because, man, this game is just kind of the LSU Arkansas. It's a rivalry game, right?
Big rivalry.
And you and I talked about it. For Arkansas, it's a rivalry game, but it's I would have to say probably between both teams. It's a rivalry game, but it's not like a rivalry game like for Arkansas. I can tell you, like for me, old school fan, Arkansas, Texas, that's where it's at. And the new bloods, SEC is trying to make Arkansas, Missouri, the rivalry. You spent time in Columbia. Did it ever feel like a rivalry between Arkansas and Missouri?
Well, ever since they come in the SEC, they're still stuck on Kansas, and I'm like, screw Kansas, man. Make it Arkansas your rival.
Yeah, but
it's the same way on the Arkansas. They're trying to push that Mizzou, but I get it, Arkansas, Texas. But when it's like the 2000s, from year 2000, last 25 years, that Arkansas LSU game, that's a good one.
Oh, there's been some heck of games, man. There have been some amazing games. I mean, I've witnessed them in the Razorback Stadium. I've witnessed some of the great games there between Arkansas and LSU at Tiger Stadium, and there's been like two miracles on Markham's, for late touchdown heroics against LSU. But this game here, I had to reach out to Chris and because. It's kind of one of those games where you and I talked about this. You're like, because the point spread's 5.5 to 6.5 LSU, or with LSU, with Arkansas being the dog here, right?
Sure, yes, sir.
But I'm going to tell you, man. Like, so here's the thing, and a lot of people from Arkansas, and a lot of people from LSU, 9 out of 10 times in the past, and this scenario has happened more than once. In this Arkansas LSU matchup. So Alabama and LSU just played. And I don't care. It can be Alabama, LSU. They'd be playing on the moon. And that is going to be a slobber knocker of a game. And LSU always seems like they come out a little beat up from that game.
Yeah, for sure.
And normally, back in the day, they were playing Saban and they came out with a loss on it most times out of not. And so not only were they beat up, but then they were also out of the national championship race. So they came to us, and records didn't matter, man. I mean, we had this record before and beat number one team, but I don't know what LSU team we're running into. Like, I feel like we're running into the LSU team that just got beat by Alabama, that just got that maybe a little bit beat up, but I know they're mentally beat up. Their coach is they're under an interim coach, and then today the whole crap that LSU pulled with LSU. Yeah, LSU. LSU pay the damn buyout. You fired him. Your jackass AD Scott Woodward over there. He did that. Y'all got to eat that. Now you just look dirty to the rest of the coaching, to the rest of the sports world right now in college athletics. You just look childish.
And Kelly said he wants the whole bag too.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, I was all about, hey, negotiate it down, do whatever. But then when you come out and you said, hey, we might be firing this man for cause, and you ain't got no cause to fire him. If you do, you better have some cause, and you better have something good. But that just looked bad. If you're going to say you fired somebody for cause, you better, because man, you start getting serious. So anyway, that reared its head today and was in the news. So I know that didn't help the team. But so I don't know. But then I look at Arkansas. Our defense is so horrible. So I reached out to Chris, and Chris is just like, I trust him. He's just like, dude, if this turns into a shootout, he goes, y'all gonna win. He goes, because we can't. He said, I don't think we've scored 20 points all year, like in a game. Like that, they haven't scored over 30 points a game. I don't think, according to him.
I can look that up. Disappointment he's been, that quarterback, ain't he? I mean, he was one of the top quarterbacks going into the season, but
according to Chris, he feels like that Nuss's confidence has been shattered, and they're just not. And I can see that too, because Nussmeier needs a pocket around him. Nussmeier is not one that likes to get outside, and it looks like almost every other play he's sprinting left, sprinting right, trying to make a throw. That's not his game. And Chris Martin out there, and Chris, I hope you're listening, brother. I love you. You better be on the show next week. I'm going to send you the links for this, but Chris had some good end on this. With him, with LSU offensively, he's like he asked me this question: what's our identity? And he really can't. Every run they run is an RPO. Like they don't have like it. And I went back and looked at this after he saw it. They don't really have design runs. It's like RPOs. It's like so their offensive linemen aren't getting that push like they need when they're trying to run block. They're not, But Chris saw that, and I wasn't really paying attention to that. And so I don't know. It's so weird. I feel like. I feel like this is one of those games bet-wise that Arkansas is going to cover that spread. And Arkansas could win this game. But
I feel like LSU's trending downward. I think they're a sinking ship. Like you said, too much off-the-field stuff. It's like you said, if all those runs are run-pass options, the offensive line, they can't put the hammer down. They got to worry about being too far downfield case he pulls it and throws it. So
right. Well, I was looking at LSU. They averaged 23.7 points per game, and I think that's 340 yards per game. That 200. I'm sorry. Let me. I take that back. 23.7 points per game. They average 240.8 yards. They're ninth in the SEC. Arkansas averages 34.5 points per game, and they average about 484 yards. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they average 484.4 yards per game. LSU averages 341 yards per game.
They move the ball in these games, man.
But LSU is when it comes to the passing yards, we're at 275 for their passing, and they're ninth. We're fourth or ninth. But one thing that surprised me is, and Chris, you're out there, brother. I appreciate your what you threw at me, because you made me start looking at some things. He just looked at me and goes, Sean, we're not good. Like LSU defensively is not good. So I went and looked, and I looked at their NCAA stat. Dude, they're 120th on defense. 120th on defense. And I was just like, wow, was that way? No, I take that back. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I think I just messed that up. They are 103. I'm sorry, total offense. 103 out of 134 teams on offense. Total offense.
Horrible.
So they have issues moving the ball, right? That's the one thing, but Arkansas has issues stopping people from moving
Right,
the
that's what
ball.
I mean. That you always complain about that defense. So yeah, this ought to be interesting.
But the one thing too that LSU said they're going to do, they're going to play their backup quarterback too. So they're going to play both quarterbacks. And I'll tell you right now, ever since last year, anytime a backup quarterback comes in the game against Arkansas, man, that dude looks like the next coming to Jesus Christ with a football in his hand. I swear to God, dude. Like, I mean, it started with Simmons from Ole Miss this year with Arkansas. That dude come in and has like, I mean, he took over the starting job based on that game. So, and you know, and Chris too, like Chris, you know, like he's right. They get probably one of the best cornerbacks, Mansour, Delane, and they got PJ Woodland, but you know, and they have two safeties, and according to Chris, that they are gangsters, just absolutely gangsters, Halsey and Cooley. So they got a back end that, you know, tailoring that about, but one thing, and Chris, you did bring this up too, but I didn't know this, that LSU has issues with a mobile quarterback. So, and we have a mobile quarterback. So, you know, it's one of those games. You know, I was talking to Chris. It's not going to surprise him to see LSU if they lose this game. You know, and this has happened before where this game, and LSU's done it where we've been ranked before, and they were like 2-win, and they beat us like they, you know, like we stole something from us. So, and this is a morning game. It's in Tiger Stadium, so it's a morning game. It's going to be the early game.
Oh, that 11 a.m. game, that
It's that 11:35 game. Yeah, it's that 11:35 game right there. And there is another good. Well, I hate to say it's a good thing for Arkansas. Whit Weeks is not going to be He's not going to be playing. He's been out for the last 3 games. He is their inside linebacker, and he is their quarterback on the defense. And when he's not in, it just doesn't run the same. Their defense doesn't quite. It just don't G-haul the same. And you know, my guy Chris, he backed that up right there. So, so he backed me up on that one right there. So they're going to be playing Keys and Singleton a lot in that inside line, and they just don't have it. Like he said, Weeks is that inside. He can read from sideline to sideline and read fast. So that's going to be a big plus for us right there. And so with you on that pick right there, I'm going
to check out the money line on that. Just see
right.
where it's set at for Arkansas to win it straight up.
Right.
So if they get 6.5, that might be a good one to try to hit the jackpot on. And
the other good thing for Arkansas too is our injury report. We got all our players back except for the ones that were out of the season at the beginning of the season. So we have pretty much our whole lineup is ready to go. So it's no more, it's always next man up mentality, but right now everybody's standing up right now. They're supposed to be standing up and playing, and LSU has some key injuries right there. So, that whole LSU is going to be tough. Their defense, and here's where it goes south. So now I'm looking at the SEC. Arkansas, they're number 5 in the offense, total offense, right? LSU is number 14 out of 16. Now, and here's where it goes right here. So LSU is number 4 in total defense, right there. And then Arkansas is number 16. So it's going to be good versus good and bad. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good offense versus a good defense, and a really bad offense versus a really bad defense, with Arkansas. So, but I think, Arkansas, if we can get past that third period, I really do. I like Arkansas to pull this upset off. I do. Because, I've been looking at this, dude. Arkansas, man. So right now we play in Baton Rouge Saturday, and then the week after we're in Austin playing Texas, and that's a game right there. We can lose every game in the world, but if you beat Texas, I'm good. I swear to God, that's how bad I hate Texas. So, and then our last game of the season is home against Missouri. So we got LSU, Texas, and Missouri. That's a tough road. That's a tough road to hold right there, right? So, yeah. So somewhere in there, dude, we've been so close, and I just feel like we're going to pull one of these games, and I just really feel like it's at LSU because we've done it before. And
yeah, I agree with you on that. I just think LSU's trending down so bad, and there was a big shout out to one of our 509 brothers, who the retired first sergeant at the reunion. He's an LSU fan.
Oh.
The one that actually lives in Arkansas now.
Oh, yeah. That's Skid. Yeah, there you go. Your Skid's out there. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's there he is. I hope hopefully he's watching out here. Skid, if you're watching, man, I know what you're gonna say. Go Tigers. So go Hogs, buddy. So anyway, yeah. So I that's I didn't really I didn't really go into really much science because look, there's nothing. It's the same. Mike Washington, running back, Arkansas. I think we're going to be able to run. I think we can attack. I think we can attack their edges, their defensive ends. I think we can attack on the run game, and a mobile quarterback. I just that secondary play. For LSU is Taylor's got to keep his head on swivel. He's got to watch what he's doing. But I really do. If we can get up on LSU and make them have to play from behind, this could be an interesting game at Tiger Stadium. So and that's kind of where I'm hoping it goes. Now with that happening, it'll probably be like a damn rain, hurricane, tornado, something, balls wet, ice storm, can't throw the ball. So yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah. But I'm leaning with Arkansas on that one, my man. So that's how I feel. That's how I like it. And I would, if I don't bet, but if I would, this is one of them games I think I would put some money on Arkansas just because I've seen this scenario before.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just, like I keep saying, LSU just seems like they're on a downward trend trying to get to the offseason, and I think Arkansas is probably going to show up more motivated for the game.
Right.
Bobby P. Still calling that offense. So
he is, and according to him, man, they're motivated. They're practicing hard. They're doing all the right things. And that's one thing with Bobby Petrino. He's not going to let you take a day off. And if you think you are, he's going to let you know about it. I mean, he's legendary for that. So yeah. So we'll see. But but LSU, man, I mean, they're coming in this with just got off Alabama. They've got a backup. They've got an interim coach too, and then it's interesting. It's just interesting times that we are in college football at this moment. So,
yes, sir.
So with that being said, man, so tell me a little bit about this Georgia Tech BC matchup, my guy.
Well, I ain't gonna say a whole ton about it. So Georgia Tech's coming off They have an off week, couple weeks to prepare, and get a couple of their defensive backs back that were injured. And I'm just looking for Georgia Tech to just poor little Boston College. They're going to – I believe Georgia Tech's going to come out and they're going to take it out on them. Boston College, what are they, a one-win team?
Let's see. Boston College is 0-6 and 1-9. Yeah.
1-9 overall. So – yeah, Georgia Tech coming off the bye. They're going to roll it up. I'm looking for Haynes King to have a huge game. Keep that his Heisman hopes alive. Of course, he's my homer pick. And even in the loss when the loss to North Carolina State, remember he had 4 touchdowns and accounted for like 500 yards of offense.
I was going to say he had over 400 yards passing, just I think like 408 yards if I'm not, yeah.
Right. He was over 500 yards of offense, 4 touchdowns. And so I'm looking for him to have a huge, I always say Haynes King ain't really your video game type numbers guy, but I'm expecting video game numbers against Boston College. Keep those hopes alive. Keep the team fresh. Come out of there injury-free and get ready for a huge one against Pittsburgh to really see who's going to control that ACC because Louisville and Virginia, the 2 of the teams under Georgia Tech in the standings, lost.
Yeah,
Louisville lost to Cal, and then Wake Forest beat one of them. And Wake Forest, we talk about up and down team. Every time I bet on them, that's the week they don't show up, and then they show up.
I know.
They play good ball against some good teams, and then they lay the egg when I decide to pick them.
Yeah, they do. They're inconsistent. Yeah, as of right now in the ACC standings, right now Georgia Tech definitely controls their destiny. 5-1 in the conference, 8-1 overall. They're 5-0 at home, 3-1 at away, and of course, right now they're riding a 1-game losing streak. Virginia Tech lost. They're 8-2 overall, but they're 5-1 in the conference. I'm sorry, Virginia. I'm sorry, yes, Virginia. Yeah. Pittsburgh's 5-1. SMU's 5-1. Duke's 4-1. So.
And then in Miami, hey, just when we thought Carson Beck and Miami was going to go away, they're still back in the fold, and they've actually just, I noticed that this newest playoff projection bracket, they've got Miami thrown in there, for the ACC.
Right.
But, there's still yet Georgia Tech, like we were talking about, those top 3 teams are pretty set in stone. Everything else under that, there's a whole lot to get worked out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, all these SEC teams with 2 losses, there's going to be some elimination games this week. Oklahoma, Georgia plays Texas, and then Oklahoma, I believe they play another 2-loss team. But, so there'll be some big games with a lot of implications on them. Now, but like I said, I'm wearing these Georgia colors like I'm a Bulldog fan. But no, I'm Georgia Tech. I'm going to give away. They're going to cover the line this week. They're going to destroy Boston College, get their mojo back, get themselves feeling confident so they can take on Pittsburgh and then finish it out against those Georgia Bulldogs in the Benz. And then that's going to be the big one. Now, as far as the ACC goes, like I guess Miami, SMU, Pittsburgh, Virginia, they all got a shot. Georgia Tech, they've only got 1 loss in the conference. They're still on top, completely control their own destiny. And I'm looking for our man Hosley, good old Hosley. Let's get Hosley back in this game with over 100 yards rushing. And let's just pound the shit out of Boston College and get that confidence back up. Forget about what happened. Brent Key's got them boys focused and looking forward. And so that's really all I got with that. I just hammer Boston College, be safe and healthy and ready for Pittsburgh, because that's the big one for the conference. It's going to decide a lot who's going to be in that ACC championship game. Georgia, that's a non-conference game, but obviously that's going to have big playoff.
That's going to have playoff implications, and that's going to have some Heisman hopeful implications.
Heisman playoff seeding.
Yeah.
As long as Georgia Tech takes care of Pittsburgh,
if Haynes King wants to be a player, if he wants to be a player in this Heisman Trophy, he's got to win that game. That's the only game that's going to bring him into the talk right now.
Like I always say, it's going to be a last game of the season. You remember what you last saw. It's going to be on Friday night. All eyeballs are going to be on that game. It'll be the only thing going Friday night inside the Benz down in Atlanta. And as long as Haynes King, let's transition to the Heisman talk, I guess. So Haynes King, video game numbers versus Boston College, do something with Pitt. And then that all eyeballs game Friday evening in Atlanta. If he can put on a show, against Georgia, and that's the last the people see him.
He's going to have to put up some numbers, and then he's going to also have to, he's going to have to look good with the Georgia, because as of right now, he's not even a dark horse consideration right now.
Right. And one guy I want to mention as we're talking about this, so Pavia, I've written Pavia off after he lost to Texas, but he had a monster game over the weekend versus Auburn. He accounted for? He had 377 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 112 yards rushing with a touchdown. So this guy, he was getting close to 500 yards with 4 touchdowns. So I think Pavia, I was being a Haynes King guy, I was kind of hoping Pavia would play his way out of it. But just when I thought that, he was going to be written off, he had a monster game against Auburn, definitely put up the Heisman-type numbers. Right. Now, as far as the Heisman moment, Indiana's Mendoza, he was having an average mid-game. I watched that game. Penn State was ahead of them most of the day. He had thrown an interception. He didn't have his numbers weren't impressive, but the last thing people are going to remember is the catch. So his receiver, it was the receiver that got him that Heisman moment. Now, it would have really hurt Mendoza had they lost to Penn State.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, average numbers with that big play and that big moment.
Here's so you're
with me on that.
No. Well, you're talking about Mendoza, right? And I was kind of like, that's the one game I was like, because I've seen this guy a little bit, and I've seen his throwing motion a few times, and I was like, man, I'm not sure I really like his mechanics. I really wasn't sold on this guy, so I watched the game here, this last week's game here with Penn State, and I came away during the game. I was just like, okay. I really like the saying from Ohio State right now, and I like Simpson from Alabama is what I was thinking. But then, that last moment, like you said, man, like let's put it. Let's do the situation, right? 2 minutes, under 2 minutes left, right?
Right.
Indiana's down by 3. Dude, they started their own 13-yard line with no timeouts, right? And I'm sitting there I'm literally going, dude, the way this cat's played all day, I don't know if he's got it in him.
He was mid all day, right?
Yeah, he was. He was mid, all day. But I tell you what, man, he did something, and he hit the drive, right? He did the drive, and it was flawless. He converted four first downs with passes of 12 yards or more. But man, dude, I can't. And the touchdown is one of them. But there was so many pass plays that he made, like 3 of them. Dude, he got clocked. I mean, clocked, and stood in like the one he hit for the touchdown. Dude, he didn't see that play. He didn't see it. He saw it on the Jumbotron, Jack, because he got his ass rolled. And I mean, and it was a good, clean hit. It was a clean hit, but he stood in, made the catch. And I mean, but that play right there, man, 3rd and goal, 7-yard line to Omar Cooper. I mean, that was definitely his Heisman moment. If there's going to be,
one thing I want to say, like, you can look at people's numbers, right? But you made a good point, Mendoza, the last drive. So basically, he did his thing in the clutch. Who gives a damn what in the second quarter of the game? When it's 4th quarter, final drive, you got to score to win. And like you said, he's converting, he's getting first downs, making big plays, long drive. That's a clutch gene type thing. That's a man. That's like a baseball player, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Some people hit well in the 2nd inning. Some people get hit in the 9th inning. And for Mendoza, like I said, if you just looked at the numbers, you say, oh, that's mid. But taking into account, like you're talking about, leading that drive when it really counts, that's way up on the clutch meter. That definitely puts him in that Heisman race solid.
Oh, I do. He's there. Like, and I was watching. I went back and watched several of his highlights. The dude can make every pass. Like, dude, he can make a 7 route. He can make a 7 route, like a deep corner. But he can drop dimes. I mean, he's good. He's accurate. He's not as accurate as the kid from Ohio State, in my opinion. But this kid right here, though, I mean, he leads the nation. 26 touchdowns right now, man. 26 touchdowns. So hats off. And now with them, now I'm going to tell you this because I want you, because I'm going to ask a question into the. So he's only got 2 games left. All right, and you said this before. You said they're only going to remember the last thing because me and you right now are talking about the last play, his last series, right? So they have Wisconsin next, which they have a losing record here.
They'll be a significant favorite in that game against Wisconsin.
Yeah, they're going to be of Wisconsin. They're a 1-5, 3-6 team, and then they finish up with 0-7, 2-8, 0-7 in the conference, 2-8 overall. Purdue. Okay,
that's Ohio State. So he's going to have a chance to put up big numbers on his way out.
He's got big numbers all the way up until whoever, Ohio State, I'm assuming in the championship game, right?
Right. And see, I believe I remember I asked you you're right. I believe those conference championship games get seen before the final votes are cast, because like you said, they give out the Heisman the same day as the Army-Navy game. And
yeah, it's on December the 13th. It's going to be the first time the ABC is actually going to air the Heisman. It's always been on ESPN.
Right.
So it's the weird stuff I find when I'm actually doing research. So yeah, it's going to be out of New York, December 13th, 7 p.m. At the Lincoln Center, New York City. And another dumb fact: Chris Fowler, he's MCN. 32nd straight year he's MCN. I didn't know this thing had been going on for 32 years.
He ages like Dick Clark, right? He still looks the same doing it.
Exactly. So it's gonna be the 91st Heisman here. So, but yeah, but this kid, I like the way he did, and he showed toughness, man. Oh my God, he showed, because dude, he got obliterated. I know 3 times on that last drive. Like there was one time I'm like, I couldn't believe they didn't didn't throw a flag, just because they're always protecting quarterbacks. But he stood in the pocket. He took them shots, and you know what? His team walked away with a win last second. I mean, it's a Heisman moment for him. And he's got the twist.
So we're on track to have the Big Ten championship game. You know, I don't want to discount Michigan, a possible, but Ohio State and Indiana control their destiny to get to that Big Ten game. That'll have huge Heisman implications. The SEC, you're more of the SEC man. Now, Ty Simpson, he had 340 yards and a couple touchdowns. He had 1 interception. Now, Gunnar Stockton, he had a big game. He had 264 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. And I'll give a shout out, Nate Frazier, running back Nate Frazier from Georgia. He had a monster game. He had 181 yards rushing in that game. They finally got a fast start and just blew Mississippi State out. But
right,
I almost see Gunnar, Ty Simpson, he's in the Heisman race. Gunnar Stockton, his name doesn't get mentioned as much. I think that he's in it, but I think a lot of people look at him as a next year type guy. But I'm thinking, so this SEC championship game, there's so many top teams in the SEC with 1 or 2 losses. It looks like A&M. I mean, so Georgia plays Texas this week. That's got to be somewhat of Texas, if they lose. But I mean, I'm hearing that the University of Georgia may not. They could end the season with 1 loss and not even play in the SEC championship game because Alabama has the tiebreak over them. They beat them head to head. But Georgia could finish with 1 loss, not even get in the SEC championship game, but obviously still get in the playoff. So if Georgia did get in that SEC championship game and it was Ty Simpson versus – could you imagine Ty Simpson versus Gunnar Stockton and then Mendoza versus Sayin? Those are 4 Heisman candidate quarterbacks on championship.
Well, the thing is
so it could be some good stuff coming up. Man.
So Ty Simpson and Gunnar Stockton have already faced off, and their 1 loss is Alabama.
Right
there. But Ty Simpson, you brought up a game earlier. So Oklahoma is playing. They are playing Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. That's elimination.
Yeah. So that's going to be another one right there for Ty Simpson right there. But when it came to the dark horses, there was a couple of dark horses that I mentioned, and I didn't go into them, but Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State, receiver, and then Gunnar Stockton, definitely on the outside looking in. Yeah. And the only reason why is because his loss was to Alabama, was to Ty Simpson, and my 2 quarterbacks from the SEC right now. So I didn't go. So we'll get back to saying here in a minute. But so for the SEC, I have two right there. Marcel Reed, quarterback, Texas A&M.
Right? Yeah, he's the
A&M. It's this kid right here for the season's 2,193 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns with 378 yards and 69 carries.
And he's got an undefeated record with him.
Yeah, last week, he got 20 of 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions with a 38-17 win over number 22 Missouri in Columbia. Now, here's the thing.
Ranked team, Missouri.
Yeah. So for me, I have to give Reed credit. I have to give all these guys. So Reed and Simpson, they're right next to each other, in my opinion. The two spots right now are Mendoza and saying Ohio State, and then Reed Simpson, kind of in my opinion.
Which they could very well meet in the
Oh,
SEC championship game.
yeah, and all these could change because I'm actually I have a question because I'm basing for you later here. So, but right now, Reed and Simpson are kind of together, but I kind of want to give Reed that edge just because he is undefeated in the SEC. But with that being said, so is Ty Simpson. They just had an ugly. We don't know why. What the hell happened? Florida State lost at the beginning of the season. I don't know. Did they just not show up for that game? I don't know.
Well, let me ask you a question now. So, just kind of delves into the poll. So, Texas A&M is ranked number 3. Do you feel like the SEC is getting disrespected with Ohio State and Indiana ahead of A&M? Or now Ohio State is probably the wire-to-wire. I would say most people would probably say that they're the number 1 team outright. But, you know, I'm wondering if A&M should be thrown in there at number 2 or now the SEC respect because there's like 5 other like from number 4 down. Like they got Georgia, like Alabama and Georgia are 4 and 5. So it's like they gave the SEC, they get the 3, 4, and 5 ranking. But I'm wondering if that undefeated A&M, are they being slightly disrespected? What do you think?
Well, so if you look at who's in front of them, Ohio State and Indiana, they're both undefeated teams, right? A&M's undefeated.
Right.
So, and look, I did some real, I did some in-depth searching here with this, and I'm an SEC guy, but I'm also I'm learning to be and I got to give a shout out to my guy Chris here that does his Sweet Tea in the SEC their show there because he has made me be a realist when it comes to these things to look at things for what they really are. I can be a fan or I can be the realist and look at things. So when I got to looking, I remember when Ohio State and Texas played. And I think they won, was it 14-7, if I'm not mistaken? It was like 14-7. And I remember telling everybody, and I said, man, Texas might just have the best defense of anybody. That might be the best defense I've ever seen. And I stand corrected. Big Ten fans here and Ohio State, anybody here at Ohio State, I will say when I'm wrong. Because I went back and I looked at Ohio State and I looked at y'all's defense, man. I looked, let me actually get over because I actually found.
Yeah, Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator's got them guys going. And if I remember in that game, Texas lost 14-7. And speaking of that Ohio State defense, they did have a goal line stand where they stopped Manning on one of them tush-push type plays.
Yes.
To shut them or else Texas could have tied the game. So not only did they play good defense, they shut Arch down, but they had a goal line. They stopped the tush push on the goal line, gave up no points in the red zone. So, that Ohio State defense with Matt Patricia, they're on fire. And,
and this is what caught my attention when I was doing my research. Here we go. 14-7. They gave up 7 points. Grambling State, 70-0. Ohio, 37-9. Now, I know these are some small teams, but then you get to Washington at Seattle, 24-6.
Right. And that's
Minnesota. Minnesota came to town. Drake Lindsey, kid I coached in Fayetteville, Arkansas, quarterback for them. Worst game he's had in college in his life in his young career. They won 42-3. Illinois, 34-16 in Champaign.
And Illinois must have been a talented team. So
at Wisconsin, 34-0. Columbus, Penn State, 38-14. At Purdue, 34-10. Ohio State's defense is legit, man. Like,
and
dude,
that Penn State game may have been that Penn State game that was later in the season. That may have been the first time they gave up a touchdown in the first half.
But that Penn State game, in my opinion, that's Sayan's Heisman moment. That game was his moment right there. So when I look at
Penn State, was a couple people the Heisman moment.
Yeah, but so when I look at it, I see Ohio State, I see those scores. Nah, they deserve to be number 1. What has Indiana done to deserve not to be number 2? Nothing. They've done what they're supposed to do. Texas A&M, they have won. I know people, but it's the SEC. You're right. It's the SEC. But you know what? Until Ohio State or Indiana plays in the SEC, they're 1-2. So you know what? That's why we have a playoff.
Right.
This is all going to work itself out in some way, one way or the other. And that's why I despise this playoff ranking thing until after, because it's just there's.
And then they're going to have it seated right. You remember how
last
year the Florida
like
toward like the lesser seeded team had an easier road to the championship. Now they'll have it seeded the way it's supposed to be, and the team that you have the best record, the best resume, you have the easiest path. It's not easy.
Right. Oh yeah. No, you're right though. But with that being said, Ohio State, and I got to get to saying here in a minute. This is their 3 games that are left. They are in Columbus, UCLA, in Columbus, Rutgers, and then their last game. So their next 3 games are all they're back to back. Their last game is in Ann Arbor at Michigan, and that's on Fox at 12 p.m.
It's be tough.
That's going to be their That could be their hiccup. That could be it. Other than that, and I don't even really see that being a hiccup. But
I think they're going to be so motivated because I know several Ohio State fans, and they almost they look at last season as an asterisk national championship because they lost to Michigan.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm like, bro, you won the national championship, man. I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but playing at the big house is going to be tough. We know that. Michigan's going to be jacked up. They're going to be jacked up. It's going to be a good game. But that could be their hiccup. So with that being said, you got UCLA, Rutgers, and Michigan as their 3 games with that, right?
And they ought to hammer those next 2 games. They ought to hammer them.
Yeah. When it comes to the playoff rank, I know we jumped a little ahead here. I'm good with 1 through 8. I'm good with 1 through 8. I can do that now, but even 1 through 8 is going to settle itself out. Like it's going to settle itself out, and so I have no problem where it's at right here. Now I will say one thing. I have to do this because I have to get back over to the Heisman thing because I want to point something out. We talked about Marcel Reed, and I watched a lot of his highlights. He improved so much from last year to this year, throwing that deep pass, and then he really is like there is like when you want to say that a true dual threat quarterback.
Yeah,
when that dude decides to put his foot down and take off, he's gone, and he makes good. But I tell you, I watched him make a play, and I cannot remember who it was against, but he made a play where the pocket was kind of collapsing on him, and he was gonna take off, and he had a lane. But then I swear what he did, he's like, I'm going to put my lineman in a bad spot if I do this. Like I could, and he stepped back, and then you saw he started looking back downfield. Like he went to run, stepped back, went back to being a passer, and completed like a 20-yard pass down the field. And I was like, wow, okay, this cat's got it. Like, and so for me, and I went back and I looked at all these, for me, his highlight, he went into Notre Dame. Right. They won 41-40.
Good non-conference win. Right?
Yeah, that is a hell of a non-conference win early in the season right there. He threw for 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also he won that game because he converted. He converted at the right time there, if I'm not mistaken, a 4th down play, if I'm not mistaken. Now for them, they got South Carolina this week, and then they have a Sanford, which is a little town, a little school. Is that Georgia, I think?
Alabama, I believe.
Alabama, okay. It's on the border there. And then they got Texas at Austin.
Yeah, they're going
to be a hell of a lot of eyeballs on that right there. So Reed, now the one, look, I'm going to tell everybody, I love all these guys that they picked. I understand the favorites. I understand everything. But I'm going to tell you, man, and this is one of them kids too, and Alabama fans, if you're out there listening, Ty Simpson, hey guy, if you're listening, by God, hey man, I apologize because I was like, man, I'm not so sure you're all that, but my guy, Ty Simpson. Let me just so your season stats are 2,184 passing yards and 22 touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. All right, with two rushing touchdowns. He's got 1 interception on the year. Okay, that was impressive, but then what I'm about, other stuff is impressive. So last week, 21-35 for 277 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions in a 20-9 win over LSU. Now, but here's what. So I looked this up because, dude, This kid, let me get back. Let me get. I got to find this because this kid right here, man. Alabama is 6-0. They're 8-1. They lost the first game of the season to Florida State. Why? Yeah, it was horrible. But they're 6-0.
He shook that off and.
Oh, dude. But dude. My God. Alabama does not have a rushing attack, bro. Like they do not. I think there's only like 2 games they've rushed over 100 yards. Like I went through their games. Like ULM, they only had like 74 yards of rushing. So this guy is doing seriously, their rushing is they're 14th in the conference. They're 120th nationally with rushing offense. 120th out of 100. Yeah, dude. I never in a million years thought I would say Alabama is 120th in rushing offense and Indiana is number 2 in the nation. Where did all the everything collide and I got put in a different alternate reality because this is just crazy, man. But I have to say dude, they're only average, their running backs 2.2 yards a carry. So this kid ain't getting no damn help. None. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. And so, so for him, I kind of went back, on October 11th when they were playing the Missouri, he had a 4th and 8 conversion that, number 15 ranked Missouri. That was a good one there. They needed that play to win, to secure the win on the road, and he delivered. He came through. But I like this guy because, I'm basing it off his entire performance over the year. Like, this kid, you don't hear him bitching, you don't hear him complaining, going, I ain't got no running game. I wish somebody would run a damn game. He ain't Hayes King. He ain't running for 150 yards, and 4. He ain't heard him say that, dude. He's just shown leadership. He's led them to 7 straight wins, and several victories over ranked opponents. I like this. I like this kid. Like, I mean, and the schedule that they play is tough. I mean, the SEC schedule is tough. I will say this, and I don't mean to make anybody mad or upset, but the SEC, in my opinion, the schedule, the everyday game schedule is tough because it's tougher than the ACC. It's tougher than the Big Ten because there is a big drop-off. To me, and I hate to say this, Arkansas, but we are the drop-off. But we'll score points on you. We'll scare the hell out of you, But Mississippi State can play. Like, Mississippi State's been being a dog here a little bit. Yeah, But out of the SEC, I got to say, Arkansas, we're the disappointment.
Like Florida, they're on the bottom side of the league, but they could beat you on a good week,
Yeah, they absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, the kid is just – I mean, you can say what you want, but when it comes down to it, if Alabama didn't have this kid, Alabama probably is looking for a coach too. So I just say it. So
I tell you, as far as this Heisman thing goes, I just can't remember many seasons where this many people were in the race this late. Usually by now there's a clear cut 1 or 2 guys, and sometimes it's like you might as well only invite 3 guys to New York.
Right.
But this year, like you said, Reed, Simpson, Sayin, Mendoza, and I still throw Pavia and Haynes King.
Well, see, the only reason why I didn't throw Pavia on there was because he's got 2 losses.
Right.
And both of those losses are just – one of them is to Alabama. So he's already lost to 1 Heisman contender on here.
Texas.
Yeah, and
like I told you, I wrote him off until he had this big game over the weekend, and
right.
So he's going to look good numbers wise,
Right.
But you're right though. I think what you're saying, and it makes sense. This thing is really hunkering into Sayin, Mendoza, and Reed.
Well, I will tell you this, and I want to ask you this question.
Then Simpson, those 4 are like the main. Right. That's where it's kind of hunkering into.
So what happens if Georgia and Georgia Tech remain undefeated and they play, and either one of those, whichever team wins, does that automatically prepare that quarterback into the Heisman talk, in your opinion?
Sure, yeah. If Haynes King accounts for like 400 and some odd yards of offense with 4 or 5 touchdowns, it's got to say something. If he pulls out the upset and beats that team, and then goes and wins the ACC, I mean, you got to send him to New York, and because Georgia's still the number 5 team in the country, and that game against Alabama, that could have went either way. You remember?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. When they went for it on 4th down, Cash Jones, the white running back, a lot of the crowd was like, "Why are they giving it to him on 4th down?" But yeah, if they convert that 4th down, they win that game. So, Georgia is kind of weirder. They've been a premier blue blood with a couple recent national champions, and I know I'm a Tech fan. I know you got you some Georgia boys on these podcasts, but I tell you, Georgia, they ain't getting talked about a lot. People are sleeping on Georgia, and you can't count them guys out yet. They're still a primo top team.
I can tell you right now, hey, that's the way Chris, his guy, his Georgia, that's the way he wants it.
And
you don't want nobody talking. Exactly.
That's what they want is, hey, let them talk about the other teams. Maybe there's a little less pressure on Georgia.
Right.
But believe me, they're still in there, and they could beat anybody at any moment.
So I got one question to ask you, and then we're going to get on to your picks here. So out of these 4 guys right here, so let's start with, you got Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sayin, and with Julian Sayin, y'all, I didn't really get it. So he's got 2. I need to get on this guy real fast. Ohio State quarterback, 2,491 yards, 24 touchdowns with 4 interceptions. Week 11, he had 27 for 33, 303 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception with a 34-10 win over Purdue. Now, this guy, dude, this kid is insane. He's 192.6 passer rating right now. He is right now completing 80.9% of his passes. Now, I did a little bit of research because I was like, okay, is he doing this like Bo Nix was doing this a year ago, 2 years ago, when you're only completing like most of your passes were 6 yards? No. This kid's most of his passes averaging 8.9 yards or more. So he's putting the ball down the field, and to have that, and I watched his highlights, and I mean, this dude impressed me so much. I watched all of his highlights for this year. Dude, if he's throwing that ball and you're a receiver, you better have your hands ready because it's going to be catchable. The only ball I saw him was incomplete was a ball he threw away. Like that kid he's insane, man. Like his accuracy is crazy. So, and then with that Penn State, he threw for 316 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he had 20 of 23 completion rate. This kid is, he is that guy, like when it comes to just consistent, man. So you got that guy, right? So, and then with him, with Ohio State, you got UCLA, Rutgers, and Michigan, right?
Good games coming up. Yeah.
So out of Mendoza, Sayin, Reed, and Simpson, which quarterback, in your opinion, cannot afford a loss? If they do lose, they're totally out of the Heisman hunt right now.
Probably Simpson, just because of the Florida State loss. That's what they're going to hang on his head.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
But listen, man, if Alabama runs the table through this, beat an undefeated A&M, hey, man, I mean, if he's still, I mean, he can't afford the loss, but if he runs the table, it's going to be hard to say no to him. I mean, it's going to be hard to say no to him. But no, dude, it's so tight right now. None of these guys in the top, none of them want to lose right now because, they're all in it. And so, Texas versus A&M. There's still a lot of, like we like to say, there's still a lot of meat on this bone to make your Heisman case and put your team in the playoff race.
Oh yeah, and you're right. Like this, you're right, man.
There's some big games left.
Yeah, because like Reed's got the Texas game he can show out on. Alabama, he's got the Auburn game there he can show out with. I mean, that's not going to be hard to do.
Conference game is going to be huge.
Yeah,
if it ends up being Reed versus Simpson and Sayin versus
Mendoza, right?
Yeah, that's going to be huge. But with that
with that being said, guys, we've had our conversation here. We've had a little good show here with the Heisman talk and everything, and we are almost at an hour. But I'm not going to let my guy go without giving his picks for the week. So with that being said, Mr. Ronny, I turn it over to you, sir, and give us them picks of the week, sir.
All right, here's 5 good ones for you. North Carolina State at Miami. I'm taking North Carolina State plus 14.5. They're coming off a big win in a bye week. I ain't calling the upset, but 14.5 is too many. So North Carolina State plus 14.5. Georgia Tech at Boston College. We've already talked about it. Georgia, my style ain't. I don't like to give a lot of points. I usually like to take them, but Georgia Tech minus 16.5. They're going to cover this spread for a mile. They're going to just take it out on. They're going to demolish Boston College. Mark it down. Georgia Tech minus 16.5. My team, my boys, I've been betting on all year. Memphis is at East Carolina, and I had to take this one because Memphis is plus 2.5. I could not believe Memphis was the underdog in this game. So Memphis plus 2.5 over East Carolina. And then a team that I won with the spread with last week, Iowa, is at USC. Iowa covered against Oregon. They're a good, tough, physical team. And I like Iowa plus 6.5. So Iowa plus 6.5 at USC. And then I have to go with the Georgia game. This is going to be a big, big monster game with a lot of conference and playoff implications. Texas is at Georgia. And I'm taking Texas plus 6.5. Now, for all my Georgia friend buddies, I'm not calling the upset. I'm just saying the game's going to be close. I'm not saying Texas is going to win, but I'm saying this is going to be a close game. Texas plus 6.5 at Georgia. So North Carolina State plus 14.5, Georgia Tech minus 16.5, Memphis plus 2.5, Iowa plus 6.5, and Texas plus 6.5. And that's Ronnie B's picks of the week.
All right, guys. Well, hey, Ronnie, I appreciate them picks, guys. And hey, we had some viewers on here, guys. And hey, I can see you guys here. And hey, y'all do us a favor, man. If you're on Twitter or you go to YouTube, hit us up at CFB_SZN. Again, that's at CFB_SZN. Hit us up on X or YouTube. And, man, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. We just normal folks trying to make a living out here and doing it. That subscribe button helps us get seen, guys. So we sure appreciate it. Again, as always, Ronnie, hey, man, it's been a blast. Let's do this again next week. And Chris Martin, if you're out there, I'm fixing to send you a link. You better start ordering some stuff, baby, because you fixing to get on this podcast with us, my guy. I need you. I need you, and we're going to have some fun. So, everybody, we enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing y'all again at the same time next week. Y'all have a good one, guys.
So,
and again, happy Veterans Day to all my veterans out there.